Hello everyone, good morning. I wanted to make a video in regards to some Terry products. Excuse if you can hear a grinding sound in the background. It's my laundry going on. I need to do some laundry. But I figured while I'm, taking care of some household stuff, I just decided to make a video. Just as a bit of a thing, I've been receiving a lot of questions in regards to Terry as of late. Now, I've always received questions from time to time. It was never that often that I would get questions, but I feel like now I've been getting more questions and a lot more general questions in regards to the line, like what do I recommend, what do I like, what don't I like, and honestly, it's a very complicated question. And I wonder if part of the reason is because of Beautylish is now selling Terry, and I feel like there's not a lot of reviews out there or not a lot of information about the product or just general feedback from people, I guess, who use the line, what they think about it, what they don't think about it. And I know my blog has been out for a few years already, but it's all scattered. And of course, my mind may change over time. And who really wants to search back for reviews in like 2010 or something like that for a specific product review? So I feel like now that, with more people asking questions about the line, and now with Beautylish being an online vendor for the brand, I feel like there are more people who are willing to try the line now that, there's more channels of purchasing the line. So here I am making a video. I think I'm going to do a series of this. I don't know how I'm going to organize it, but I feel like base products is probably like the easiest one for me to discuss since I have a good amount of it. I've tried everything when it comes to primers, foundations from Terry. So like even though I may not have it in here, I have tried it. So feel free to ask me questions in regards to that in case, if you had any specific questions of products that may not be mentioned in here. So with that being said, let's just get started. So I wanted to discuss first the Cellulose Brightening CC Lumi Serum. And I think there's some questions in regards to what they are, how do they work, how do I use them, why would I use them? And it's a valid question because I feel like if you're not familiar with the line, people may not understand or may not know how to best use these products. So I'll give you a bit of a backstory in regards as to how these came into existence. So before these were released, Terry had a primer of sorts, and it was by Terry Eau de Rose Elixir Extreme. Now this bad boy, at the time when it was sold, it's now discontinued. These two products are discontinued. This was sold for $170. What this was is that this was definitely something you would use either under your foundation or over foundation, like as a highlighter. And the reason being for the price point is because it actually has pink gold flecks in it, which is beautiful. It's beautiful as a highlighter. I liked it as a base for foundation sometimes. I only use it in certain sections underneath my foundation because I felt like the shimmer was a bit much. So I liked it, but I feel like the price point and the limited use of what it was, I felt like drew away a lot of people to the specific product. Hence the rose gold lid on it because of the rose gold and the formula. I liked it, and I'll be upfront. I received this as a gift from a friend of mine, so I had my limits. I was kind of not sure if I wanted to purchase it. I didn't know if it was for me, if it was something I like. I mean, I liked it in the store, but I didn't know if it was worth the $170. And I use it. It's not something I reach for as much anymore since I have the Lumi serums now. But so that's what this was for. And then in conjunction with this was also her color correcting powders. She had a pink one. She had a lavender one. She had this one. I think there was one or two other shades, but and this was something like even over foundation if you needed some color correcting or some brightening of the skin. That's what this was for. And I feel like, well, both of these got discontinued around the same time, so I feel like she combined the concepts of both these products into one product, which I feel is a lot easier to understand and it's a lot more streamlined in my opinion. Not to mention the price point is a lot better than $170. So I have 3 shades, and I have shades 1, 2, and 3. These are deeper, more golden shade, like a darker golden shade, which I like. It's beautiful, used as like a deeper bronzer, But for me, I mean, I have bronzers and other products that I use to bronze my face, so I didn't feel the need to add another product just for the sake of a liquid bronzer. So in regards to these three, so this is shade number 3, which is Apricot Glow. This one I feel like I use the most because it gives like a nice, as a base of foundation, like underneath your foundation, I like it because it helps like cancel out some of the redness, and it also gives like a nice warmth to the skin without being like too bronze look, or how do I say, it's not a very bronze look, it's just like a nice warmth to the skin. So on days that you want like a little bit of warmth, but you don't want to put on you don't want to use bronzer because you're afraid it might be a bit too much, this is definitely the product to use. And it also helps with redness, as I said before. So this one I really like. I have swatches, I'll show you in a minute. And then I have, I think this is Rose Elixir, which is shade number 2. This one I like for brightening, and a bit of a story behind pink products and me and pink. So Tara has always been very like adamant, or not adamant, she's always been like a big believer of using pink as like a brightening effect on the skin. Now, I didn't really want to think that, like, I didn't believe that that was like a really good product or a good color to use for brightening. I've always felt like yellow or like using green colored like primers would be like a better option for that, until I met her and she used pink powder. She actually used this specific powder, but in pink, all over my face. And believe it or not, I was like a firm believer of like the use of using pink as like a brightening agent, and it really does brighten the skin. It gives like this fresh glow to the skin. It gives you like this, I don't know, like this radiance that just I never thought was possible with the color pink. So I definitely like this one for a brightening effect. I do understand some people's skepticism over using pink as a brightening agent, but I really do believe in it. Now, one of my girlfriends who is like very pink undertone in her skin, she doesn't like this because she feels like it accentuates more of the pinkness in her skin. So for those of you who are like an NW and MAC terms, this may not be the first product you would want to try from the CC Lumi serum. You may want to try shade 1 instead, which is Immaculate, I think it's called. Yeah, it's called Immaculate Light. I wonder if you can, there you go. This one, I kind of use this a little bit as a highlighter sometimes. It's not the one I reach for the most. I mean, it's beautiful, and I like it sometimes underneath foundation, but this is the one I don't use as much because I feel like I like this one more because it has the brightening, warmth, and like slight of canceling out the redness on my face. So definitely like these three. They're all just for different purposes for me. So in regards to swatches, so let me do this. So the top one is the Eau de Rose Elixir Extreme, and then underneath that is shade 3. As you can see, like it has a nice like glow to it. And then shade 2, which is like the pink one, you can see it's like a very shimmery one. And then shade 1, which is Immaculate Light. I didn't blend these, I just wanted you to see the color and kind of like the luminosity of this, so you can get an idea of like how pink it can be versus how white it can be. And you can see shade 3 is like just full of awesome. I feel like shade 3 will probably be the most popular one because it, you know, a lot of people like a brightening effect, but also like to cancel out some redness. So that's that. Now, in regards to by Tara Dauntless, I've already went into detail about this specific foundation, but just to give a quick overview, it's a medium coverage, velvet finish, long-lasting foundation with some skincare benefits like anti-aging. I can't attest for the anti-aging benefit on that because I don't really have like lines or wrinkles just yet, but I do have larger pores. And this stuff is very, like, it doesn't pool into the pores, it just blurs all over it. So you could just use this without the primer in of itself. This one's just beautiful. I like this because you don't need a powder on top of this foundation because it has like a velvet finish. It's not a flat matte, and some people may not consider this a matte because it's not very flat. This has like a nice soft focus look to it, so it's very beautiful in photographs. So if you're someone who likes the look of like a matte finish and you want it to be very photo friendly and very like a soft focus, this is definitely the foundation to use. And a little bit about the shade range. if you're like the palest shade in a specific shade range, like let's say, I don't know, if you're like, I don't know, like maybe shade 1 or like the lightest shade of any line, you may not be the lightest shade in this. The numbering system of Terry's foundations, it's not necessarily by depth, it's by undertone. So I'll give you an example about how it took me a while to figure out my shade in Dauntless. So shade number 5, and this one looked like my shade in the bottle, but when applied on my skin, it was way too peach. It was the right depth, but not the right undertone. Shade number 8, which is the shade, because I'm shade 7, FYI. Shade number 8, on the other hand, it's a bit deeper, but the undertone is a lot more golden. I feel like shade 8 would be like if you're like an NC35, but like a very golden undertone, if you ask me. One of my girlfriends who tends to be the lightest shade in like everything, she's actually shade 2 in the Terry Dauntless, not shade 1. So if you can get a sample, whether if it's through Beautylish, Barney's, Space and K, get samples first, because this stuff is not as intuitive as it seems. The other thing, too, is not just the fact that the shade range is not really that intuitive. It's also the fact that once applied on the skin with body chemistry, the shade may change slightly once it sets. For example, shade 7 looked a little lighter and looked a little light in the tube or in the glass jar. But once applied, it looked light, but then it like went like half a shade darker. Like not even half a shade, like it went slightly darker. So I really do recommend getting tested on this, because it is an expensive foundation. It's $115, and as is the primer. The primer is also $115. You really do want to get matched in this, because you don't want to make the mistake of thinking you're shade whatever, and then you're completely not that shade. Because, you know, the process of like returning, exchanging is a hassle, and I hate doing that. It's just really annoying. And the other thing is just as a recommendation, if someone's taking the time to match you in something, I feel like it'd be like the nice thing or the right thing to do to purchase it through that specific vendor. So, for example, like I know that Space and K has promos with like certain amount off, like, you know, $20 off, $10 off, or whatever it may be. But I've had more success getting matched at my Barney's, or like like they'll take more time and really like take out like 3 or 4 shades and really take the time in matching me. Space and K does that too, but I feel like I have better success with Barney's, because they'll actually let me take a lot of samples home and stuff like that. So if you're someone that, if you're gonna be asking a specific associate to get samples, I feel like it'd be the right thing to do, because it does take time to really get matched in this. It's not like a really easy or intuitive way of, you know, it's not an intuitive foundation in regards to like the shade range. So then in regards to, aside from the Dauntless, I'm in love with the primer. I've obsessed about it. I already went enough in detail how much I love this. It blurs pores, it blurs lines. This is one of the few primers I can actually wear it by itself, and my skin looks really good even just with this on. And also what's really nice about this one is that it works, you can see the benefits of this primer with other foundations, so you don't feel like if you just want to try the primer, you don't have to buy Dauntless to see the full effect of it. I mean, I do love both of these together, but I feel like you can see the benefits of this with other foundations. So definitely love this one. If you can get a sample of this, this is definitely like something worthy of trying. It just feels luxurious. It just blurs everything. It gives a soft focus effect as well. So I'm a big fan of this. It is a pricier primer, but if you're someone who wants to think of like splurging on something really nice for Christmas, this is definitely the product that I would recommend splurging on. Sorry for the swatches. They're a bit patchy. I was trying to remove them. But anyway, they're lip liners, by the way. Okay. So that's that. And then the other thing that I wanted to discuss, and I guess in line with the foundations, is her Éclat Opulent one. This is shade number 2. The price of this specific one is like $150 or so. Sorry for the messy jar. It's definitely like a fluid. I'll clean it up later. I like removed it and it like slightly came up, slightly like fell out because I had it in a weird position. Anyway, so in regards to this foundation, this is definitely like a, it's a fluid, it's like a gel cream. It kind of feels like Feature Skin, except this is like slightly more runny. The downside to this foundation though is only in 3 shades. I feel like if you have a shade in this, it's worth having because it's just a beautiful, like, it's a soft focus, very radiant finish. Not radiant in the sense of like shimmery. It looks like your skin just like the best way I've been able to describe this is that it looks like your skin just, or like looks like your face just came out of a spa. Like you just had an amazing facial, a hydrating facial, and your skin just looks very plump, very moist, but not like greasy looking. And it's just beautiful. So shade 1 was her original shade because she only, like a while ago, she only had only one shade of this, which was shade 1. I think it was shade 1. Shade 1 is like a very pink based cream in comparison to this. And then shade 3 is a deeper shade. I feel like for the price point, it's a bit disappointing. It's such a limited shade range. Now, in this, and the container looks a bit peachier than what I would be more comfortable with, like applying on my face, but it does adjust a bit for my skin tone. But I feel like with self-adjusting foundations, it can only adjust so much. So it's a bit unfortunate in that regard that I don't, for some people would, drier skin types would really love this one because it does give like a nice hydrating feel on the skin. It just looks really lush. I really do love this one. It's just, I'm just lucky that it does adjust for me, but it may not adjust for everybody. Like I said, it's like a gel cream texture. It just melts into the skin, just like, it's like pearls on your face. And it's a photo-friendly foundation as well, and it just gives like a soft focus effect. No shimmer in it. It looks really beautiful and radiant. So if you can get a sample of this is definitely worth trying. And then, I guess the best way to describe this foundation, it's like imagine Chantecaille Future Skin on steroids, except this one's longer lasting, and it's a more refined finish, and the actual like texture and formula of this, it's a bit runnier than Future Skin. So I like Future Skin. Just didn't last on me, and I felt like their shade range was a bit weird because vanilla was too light, nude was too pink. So I feel like I couldn't get a really good match in the Chantecaille one. So that's my thoughts on this one. And then, of course, last but not least, we have the Hyaluronic Hydra powder. This I really do appreciate, and I really do like this powder. But here's my gripe with this, is the packaging. Now, the rubber lid may not be appealing for some people. The next thing, too, that I have an issue with is the fact that, like, even if you store it on its side, powder can come out of the lid and fall through the threads of the lid. It's so finely milled that I feel like you go through this really quickly, and it just sticks to like the lid, which I personally don't like. But I mean, it is a bit of a gripe of mine. Some people may not purchase it just based on the packaging alone. And the other thing too, because it is a pricier powder, it is a very small container. So for those of you who feel like, oh, if I'm going to spend this much money, I'm going to get a lot of product. No, it's not a big container. So just FYI about this. So if you're someone who is a bit afraid to splurge on the primer and you want to try their loose powder, this is definitely worth trying. It photographs well in photos. It blurs, pores, and it just minimizes the look of wrinkles. I really do like this powder. I also use the Rouge Bunny Rouge one, but I do love this powder. This, I think, is like an understated gem of the line. All right, so back to swatches about these because I totally forgot to. I think I did swatches, but just one last look of the swatches. So this is, the top one is, oh my God, I can't remember. This is the Eau de Rose, and then it's shade number 3, and an Apricot Glow, and then Rose Elixir, and then Immaculate Light is on the bottom. So that's basically it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment on the comments bar, and hopefully I will speak to you soon, guys. I'll talk to you later. Oh, before I say goodbye, I wanted to compare this because a question I get a lot is the difference between Dauntless versus Cover Expert. So Cover Expert is comes in a tube, and it's a very heavy silicone in feel in terms of like the texture. Like it feels like, it kind of reminds me of Face Fabric from Armani in regards to like the high silicone content, and also like the feel and how it feels on the hands when you touch it. I personally, I mean, that foundation came out in 2011, and I don't like it because it wasn't what I was hoping it. I guess my expectations of Cover Expert didn't meet those. I don't think it's a bad foundation. I do think it's like a nice, like a matte finish. It covers pretty well. It's like a medium coverage. And again, their shade range too is also like more like undertones more so than depth. So you should also get a sample of some Cover Expert shades. I'm shade 8 in Cover Expert, and I'm like an NC25 to NC27 in MAC terminology. But I feel like if you're someone who's just really like want like a really amazing foundation that photographs well, that has skincare benefits, this is definitely the one to go for. And I feel like the fluid, like the texture or like the liquid consistency of this one is a lot more refined than Cover Expert. So just wanted to put that out there because I do know there's some people who are curious about the about Cover Expert and, you know, my thoughts on that. So anyway, I also have the Dauntless Concealer, by the way, which is in my purse. I forgot to bring it up for the video. I'm in shade 4 for the concealer, but shade 7 for the foundation. So just because you might be shade 2 in the foundation, you may not be shade 2 in the concealer. So just something to be aware about. So anyway, I think that's it. So if you guys have any other questions, please feel free to leave a comment in the comments bar. All right, guys. Hopefully I'll talk to you later. All right. Bye.